today. Of course, we've got the former House Leader Sherm Packard on board, and folks like Wayne Cimprini, former Congressman Bill Zeliff, Governor Benson. So a whole host of folks that are joining the campaign. And you know, we've been out there very aggressively talking to the voters. We're the only candidate that's doing town hall meetings. We have our 9th one we're doing tonight in Brookline. We're doing 14 of them over 8 weeks. And when I'm out there talking to folks about why I think we're gaining such great momentum is because we're saying this campaign is about the choice between doing business as usual in Concord and the stale politics of the past, or whether we're going to chart a new course, a new vision for the future of New Hampshire. And I'm the only candidate that's put out a specific plan to really lead us into a new era of prosperity. The only one talking about lowering the business taxes, lowering the cost of health insurance, cost of electricity rates, making government more accountable and transparent to the taxpayers, and keeping more of our young people here as well. So we're very excited about the course that this campaign is going, and it's only going to continue to pick up steam and momentum over the next few months as we head towards the fall elections. Well, I think whoever wins the nomination, the party will unite behind that person. I think it's going to be a very competitive primary process, and I think as folks get to see both myself and my opponent on the stage, they'll see that there are contrasts between the two of us, and I've been talking a lot about those contrasts on the campaign trail. So I expect it to be a very competitive race, but ultimately at the end, we know that we have to defeat the Democrats in November, and I'm sure whoever the nominee is will definitely unite behind that person, Josh. First of all, again, I'm running a campaign of substance, and people are recognizing that. They're recognizing that I'm really putting a real plan out there for how we're going to make New Hampshire the most economically competitive state in the country. And people appreciate that substance. They don't want just rhetoric anymore. But also it's my experience and my background as well. You know, folks know me from having served in this legislature, from having worked in the governor's office, in the executive branch, from having helped run a state agency here. I know my way around state government pretty well. I know how to move the ball down the field, and people want a leader. They want someone who's going to be proactive and who actually can get stuff done in state government. You know, Josh, I'm going to be a lot more hands-on, and I think one of the reasons why Governor Lynch does enjoy high popularity is he hasn't been so much a hands-on governor and doesn't always take positions on critical issues. And I am going to be someone that's going to take key positions on key issues. And sometimes that may make some folks unhappy, so maybe I don't have a 70% approval rating, but at the same time, folks are going to know they have a leader in the corner office and someone who isn't just going to waffle on positions, but someone who's going to take real stances on them. And so I intend to be a lot more hands-on than what Governor Lynch has been. Well, I think, the governor has to understand that you also need buy-in from the legislature and from the various stakeholders as well in order to get your policies passed. And so something that I would do as governor is make sure that even though I have an agenda for the direction I think the state should go in, to making sure that I'm working with the legislative leadership, if it's Republican or Democrat, I don't care, making sure that I have their buy-in, get them on board with what we're doing, and also work well with the stakeholders in the state as well.
But as you know, Kevin, I mean, you've worked in the Republican Party for a long time, and Republicans tend to reward those whose time has come. And right. How do you break through that dynamic? Because in many respects, this is Ovid Lamontagne's turn. Yeah,
well, Kev, I think there are some who maybe thought this race was going to be inevitable as few as 6 months ago. And I think they're starting to realize now that's not the case. And the reason it's not the case is because I'm working very hard. As I said, I'm the only one out there that's really putting a positive plan forward and saying what I'm going to do for this state. And as I've said before, Ovid has run for office a bunch of times, but running for office 4 times isn't of itself a prerequisite for being governor. You got to show you've got more than that. You got to show you've got a lot of substance to you. You've got to take positions on key issues. And I have a record of leadership. And so, as I said before, I think this is going to be a very competitive primary. And in the end, I think I'm going to be the victor, the nominee. And I look forward to being the party's nominee this fall. I do. I think it's going to be an extremely competitive general election. I think any person out there that's flying that notion that whoever wins this nomination is the next governor, I think that's, as I said, that's crazy. Look, there's going to be a lot of money coming into this election, because it is a presidential election as well. And so I think we're going to need the strongest nominee possible to take on either Maggie Hassan or Jackie Silly in November. And I think I've got a track record of showing that when I run for office, I've won. And what I tend to do in the state turns out pretty good. And I've got a record of getting good reforms. And I'm a tough a tough competitor, and I'm going to be a tough competitor in the primary and definitely one in the general election as well.